Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Good afternoon, everybody. Today's Wednesday the 26th, and we're going to get started with some Dinar talk. We had the central bank vocal lately, and we've seen that they've sanctioned about 19, I think, in total banks in Iraq, and that is actually a fascinating thing because they've been working on it for over a year, it sounds like, and what they did was they put them on notice that they were going to get sanctions, and they did that. The U.S. Federal Bank took action on these banks, and it's caused them some issues. So it says that the former deputy of the Finance Committee confirmed today the central bank is required to take strict measures against banks prior to the federal measures in order to avoid sanctions. So I'm thinking some of these banks may try to get back in good grace. We'll see how that works. But the fact that they were going into the black market to get dollars recently, which created the black market price, which they call the parallel market, but we know that that's not really what it's called. It is a black market. It's illegal. The dinar is supposed to be used in the country for all commercial and typical not residential, but commercial, residential dealings, all those things, real estate, dinar, food, clothing, dinar, so all that stuff. Anyway, so these U.S. sanctions and the decisions for the political side of it, just basically some of the banks suffer from major problems, and so they're having some to deal with it today. Says that they fear that there's going to be more federal sanctions that will reach the central bank. That may or may not happen, but I guess the view on the ground is that they're talking specifically about the exchange rate and how it affects the citizens and all these different things. But obviously they're going to take charge of it. Here's another banking side. It says that within the 72 hours, there's going to be an extraordinary meeting from the coordination framework to discuss these decisions. So the leader of the framework is gathered a meeting potentially within 72 hours because of the recent sanctions that were imposed by the Federal Reserve on those banks. Created that environment for the black market, and that the dollars raised significantly. I think it went to 155, almost to 160,000 to 100, and that's, if you're out there on the street and you're doing business with the black market, it's costing you a lot of money. It says the framework will hold an extraordinary meeting during the next 72 hours to discuss the federal sanctions in light of the presence of the indications of the third list of sanctions that have taken effect on all these banks, which makes the situation in general, they use ambiguous and requires a move of support from the Sudanese government. So everybody wants to do what the government wants, and to that effect, they want to get rid of the black market. It says everything that happens in the black market directly carries on an American agenda to end it. And I think that that's the Federal Reserve putting pressure on Iraq to get rid of it. And the easiest way to get rid of that black market is to make the dinar more valuable than the dollar. It says here is the pressure card is on the government, and that's what is clearly happening as we speak. So the U.S. Federal Reserve closing down those banks created the environment to put some pressure on Iraq, I'm assuming, and the finance ministry to take care of business. There is also some pressures that we see that are building because they haven't shown the 23, 24, 25 budget, and there's been no developments regarding the contested budget materials as we speak. They were into the federal court yesterday. We haven't heard back from them on the results of that but it says here that the Finance Committee of the House of Representatives today confirms that there have been no development so far regarding the budget materials that have been challenged by the government. He goes on to say that the state order suspended work on some of the articles in the 2023 budget, which was challenged. We all know that. They know that they're suggesting it's a valid concern. It says that the articles were challenged are not directly related to the lives of the citizens and will not stop the government's work, but they remain to be important legislation, and that the federal court is being asked to expedite the issuance of its ruling on these articles that have been challenged, especially some of these materials having to need a judicial settlement. So we're going to see how that plays out, but they have not said it yet. But the idea here is that there's a rate that's being involved to do any spending to all these allocations that they'll need for this 23, 24, 25 budget just haven't been exposed yet, and we're waiting to see how that turns out. We all believe, at least our team here at Patreon, Militiaman and Crew, believe that they're not going to go into an international market at 13.10. If they would have done that already, they would have already done so, or could have done it already, they would have done so. And so here it says the Kurdistan regional government president and al-Sudani got together. I'm sorry, it was Mansour Barzani and al-Sudani got together, and they had a visit. They were going to talk about getting together in Baghdad today at some point in time to discuss the issues of salaries and the Kurdistan share of the financial budget. So obviously there's probably something going on that they're massaging to be coinciding together, because you haven't got the budget from the court yet, but yet these guys are talking about the Kurdistan's final share of the budget. So we can see that there's a timing situation going on here. They go on to say that the oil revenues in agreement with Iraq are no longer in the hands of the Kurdistan regional government, so the Iraqi government considers it's responsible for providing salaries and financial dues to the citizens of the Kurdistan region in accordance with the budget law. So they're openly, working on this as we speak in tandem with the federal court. So it says, in this regard, we fulfilled all of our duties and fulfilled a full legal obligation. The Prime Minister of the Kurdistan region has been in contact so that Iraqi government sends salaries to those who receive them as soon as possible, and it does not delay the issue any further. So they're obviously getting ready to pay salaries, and they're probably going to have to, have the 23, 24, 25 budget done and ready to go to be able to facilitate those payments. So we'll see how that goes. It basically says from now on, the Iraqi Ministry of Finance is the one to talk to when it comes to the monthly salaries. So that's was in the news again today. So it's all coming together from it sounds. And then here we are, and a sidebar note is that while all this is going on, they're having meetings about transferring the finance, like a financial community in the Sulaymaniyah Air region. So you're going to have the Baghdad Finance Center, and you'll have the Kurdistan Center for Finance, and they're just basically talking about the presence of these members from the Securities Exchange Commission, the Stock Exchange, etc., and they're business owners, and what they're looking for is to have security and stability and safety for investment. So that's a pretty big deal that all these people from around the world are showing up to do business with Iraq. So the private sector, it is looks like it's in everybody's view that it's obviously going to get done. But the kicker of all things today, is that there's an article today that is from Al-Alaq. It says the rise in the exchange rate, my time, and the project to delete the zeros still exists. And so we've talked about this in the past, and everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people just said it's never going to happen. That's not how it works or anything like that. But the bottom line is today they reiterate specifically in the headline that the deletion of the zeros still exists. And to my understanding, and I think everybody has the same understanding, they should, is that we're not talking about taking off 3 zeros off the the currency notes themselves, it's taking 3 zeros off the exchange rate. There is a difference. So if you have any problems with that, you might look at it in a different way, because it is not about taking 3 zeros off the notes. Those notes are supposed to go in tandem, and they could do that over a period of 10 years. And that's directly from the Central Bank of Iraq. I've posted articles to support that in Patreon and in the Discord chat room. So if you guys have time and want to stop into our place, we'd love to have you. This article is phenomenal. It's pages long from Iraq. It's about 4 or 5 pages, but the main bits and pieces are that it says what's being talked about in terms of a rise in the exchange rate does not mean that there is a rise in the official price. It's still the same, but the rise in the cash price circulating in the market is caused by the reluctance of some merchants to enter the electronic platforms. So basically, that electronic platform is the official channel for the sale required by a new system. And Iraq is going to be in a new system. I think their new currency will be part of that new system. And we will see how it all plays out. But this article, again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it has, in this particular case, it says the international financial system, this new integrated system, is interdependent. And it is basically all financial institutions in the world deal with the movement of funds, especially large amounts of funds, and they need to have the similar protocols, and they all need to be able to communicate. And you'll see that when you read this article in our forum, that the international financial system is basically there to ensure the integrity of the financial system, and they believe that they just require a lot of support from the central banks around the world and in the region. And basically getting to the point is regulating foreign trade falls outside the control of the Central Bank of Iraq and requires the cooperation of multi-parties concerned with this file. So if they're going to go outside the country and they're going to do international business, there's going to be a requirement that they are working in tandem. I mean, we're talking the Ministry of the Commerce, Border Crossings Authority, Customs Authority, etc. Even the security services. All of these things come into play, and you're going to see the actions and reactions of all the different parties that are going to be involved. And they're basically getting to the point where they're proceeding with the legals, prosecutions of those banks, et cetera, that were doing certain things. They're making sure they're monitoring the security effort. So they're really pushing forward to get this done. They go on to say that there's an acceptance of the idea of taxation benefiting from what was stated in the budget law of Article 48. And now the work is underway to organize it and define the categories in the tax basis. So people coming into the country, businesses, they'll have an idea that what they're doing is good for their exchange rate market, and effectively everything that they've been doing is going to be temporary, because they're going to probably have a fix for this black market, and eventually once they go live, there will be no pressure on the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar in the marketplace. And the penalties for those banks obviously are going to be strong and harsh, but that's just the way it goes. So the most exciting part about this whole thing is that everybody is in support of al-Sudani, and he's in support of supporting the Iraqi dinar. So here, the key sentence here is that basically there are good efforts that are focused and escalating related to the campaign to support the Iraqi dinar. The strength of the Iraqi dinar is not derived from the citizens, but it's derived from the capabilities of the country. So Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani personally is one of the main supporters of the campaign to support the Iraqi dinar. And so we've heard him say that, hold on to your dinar because they're going to be stronger than the dollar. We've heard that months ago. And here he points out, this is Alak, the central bank governor, he pointed out today it was dismissed from printing the category of the 20,000 dinars because of the existence of a category 25,000 dinars. And we do not wish to expand the current categories because the project to delete the zeros still exists. That is the biggest statement or an announcement, if you will, that we've had for quite some time, because basically it just goes to show you that Alak's still in office, even though he's been challenged and been asked to be removed because of the smuggling and because of some of these things that we're seeing in the news. But here is this long, lengthy report suggests at the end, it just basically states that there's no need for a 20,000 K note, so put that to bed. And why? Because of the 25,000 dinars, they still exist, and they don't plan on printing or expanding any more current categories. They're not going to print any more of those. Why? Because the project to delete the zeros still exists. And so there you have it. That is one of the biggest things that we've seen. I'm pretty excited about this whole thing. I think everybody should be. So enjoy your week. I think it's going to be a good one, and let's see what happens with that 23, 24, 25 budget from the federal court. I think all eyes are in the boat at this time because of the nature of what we're seeing. So thank you very much for being here, and if you like our channel, please do subscribe, and your donations really help keep the content going, and the value of Patreon and the Discord chat room is phenomenal. Thank you very much for being supportive. Appreciate it. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content, subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.